It's time now for the award-winning #1 local talk show in Northeast Pennsylvania, The Sam Lesante Show. Now here's your host, Sam Lesante.
Thanks for joining us, folks. I'm Sam Lesante. Now, probably until maybe May, we're going to be talking about what's happening in our area, political-wise, who's taking care of this, who's taking care of that, particularly in our city, Hazleton, and probably in Luzerne County. The purpose I'd like to do the show, folks, is because most people are not really involved with politics. They only see things and hear things maybe on our news or read in a standard speaker, but they don't know the internal workings of what's going on. And so I thought maybe through the Sam Lesante Show, some will be paid for by the candidates, some are not. But just to bring facts to you, and sometimes I say facts are ugly things, but facts to you. But we have a police chief here in Hazleton, Jerry Speziale, came on board 2016, and I thought it'd be a good opportunity for us to see what happened since Jerry's been here in the town. Okay, now Jerry's been on our Window to the World show, a Hispanic show. He's been on this show a number of times. But it's good to keep you informed of what's going on. And you know, we talk about transparency. This guy is more transparent than a clear window, okay? So, Jerry, thanks for coming on the show.
My pleasure, Sam.
Okay,
Always a pleasure.
We talked last week, and I thought it would be a good opportunity we've had great police chiefs. I mean, in Hazel, we really have. And you came in on 2016. So let's talk about when you, first of all, what your reputation, and if anyone Googles you, they will see a ton of things of what you've done, okay? And we'll talk about your movie or whatever's coming up. But what brought you into Hazleton in the first place?
You know what? I met with Jeff Cassat, the mayor, and we met and we talked, and I recognized that he was a winner, that he was someone that really cared about changing the city. And we had this shared vision of a safer Hazleton, a more vibrant Hazleton, and a prosperous Hazleton. So that shared vision, I'll tell you right now, hooked me. And in speaking to the mayor, I wanted to come on board. I felt that there was an opportunity to make change, to make a better city, to make a safer city. He's been a great mayor, and you know, I've been free from political interference. That's why I'm successful and the men and women are. You know, all of those things are important components. He has some tough decisions, and that's what leadership is all about. You know, making those tough decisions for the betterment of the city, not for yourself. So I can honestly tell you something. We have a relationship that is founded on mutual trust, respect, understanding, and friendship. So as a result of that, we've become extremely close over the years. And when I first met him, you know, you don't know for sure, but I do know now.
Jerry, the interesting thing is that, you know, looking at your background, which is superb, why, I know it had to be a real good, he must have made a tremendous impression upon you, because you know, you have offers coming in all the time.
Yes, I do.
You have, I mean, that's no secret.
No.
I mean, even in northeastern Pennsylvania,
Yeah.
you've had some
Absolutely.
lucrative offers, okay? So why then was Jeff Cassat so persuasive? I mean, good for us. I'm glad he did that, okay, because you're doing an outstanding job. Mm-hmm. Was it the area, or was it just strictly what Jeff had, his vision?
You know, you have to have this synergy. And I could recognize that he was this mayor that wanted to do the right thing. You know, I've worked for a lot of mayors. I've worked in a lot of capacities in a lot of places. You know, you have to have that synergy, and you have to believe in that person or that individual that's going to be the mayor. And you have to recognize that that individual is going to let you do your job. And that's going to be the successes that I'm able to do with the men and women of the Hazleton Police Department. It's not about money. Believe me, if you look at my salary, I earn less than a police officer.
Yeah.
So it's not about money. It's really about that synergy, and now it's about a relationship that's been built. And I am committed to him. You know, he has asked me for my commitment when I came here. I gave him that commitment, and that's why those other offers were pushed to the side. I owe that to him and the residents of Hazleton. I've given them that commitment.
Did you review the city before you came on? Did you
Yes.
review what was going on in Hazleton and you know, crime and, you know, because of the experience that you had?
Yeah.
Did you, and what did you find?
What happened was I came into town after that, and well, even before it, as I knew the position was going to be open, I came into town and I went to Jimmy's first, and I had a hot dog. And I started there, and I started talking to people in the booths, like a politician, and asking them what was going on in town. And then I walked the area, and I went by Giant and talked to people at the supermarket. And I walked the town like a politician. And I talked to people to ask them what they thought, what were the issues they were facing, what did they like, what did they dislike, how did they feel connected to the police department, you know, to gauge what was going on. And as a result of that, I think that was a lot of our successes.
So what did you find? Because you're talking 20, was it 2016 or 2015?
Yeah, 2016, just a little before that.
Yeah.
You know.
So when you were asking people and going, which, you know, my wife and I did the same thing, incidentally, you know, but that's, we walked to different areas just to find out and what was going on. What were they telling you, Jerry?
You know, at that time, they were concerned about crime. I think that's, you know, always on the minds of the people. So they were concerned about crime. They wanted to see crime reduced. They were concerned about, you know, crime was really the main number one issue. They wanted to see a safer city because they felt that that would kick economic development in gear, which it does. I mean, it goes hand in hand.
Yeah.
If you look at any city. So, you know, it was mostly the same thing from all of the people, whether it was speeding, whether it was drugs, whether it was burglary, whether it was crime in general. You know, everybody had a specific issue, but it always seemed to come back to crime. You know, back to, you know, we'd like to see more police walk. We'd like to see more police cars. You know, at the time I came here, you had, I think, 5 or 6 blue police cars. You know, I'm a traditional guy. I believe in the black and whites. That's why the mayor was very good, and like I said, free from that political interference. We were able to put those black and whites out there. We didn't pay one tax dollar for those fleets. You look at that entire black and white fleet, you look at everything we have there, that's all on grant money. It's all on, you know, subsidized money that we were able to obtain, and that omnipresence out in the community has helped us to reduce crime. The park and walk. Those are the things that we've been doing.
When you assessed in 2016, because, you know, the nature of my show, and people will see me and they'll say, you know, but Sammy, you don't know what's happening here, or, you know, you look at different towns and senior citizens are afraid. You know, they say, you know, we have people that are playing music at night loud, and, you know, seniors are scared. Okay. Now I know perception has a lot to do with that. Okay, because, you know, people perceive Wyoming Street to be a dangerous street. Some of them. Well, I've never found it to be a dangerous street. Okay, but, you know, what was your assessment then when you start hearing these things? Because you're still, you know, listen. People say, you know, Hazleton will never be the same. Well, I don't think Reading will be the same. Wilkes-Barre will be the same. A lot of towns are not the same that they used to be. The idea is, how do we grow in the town? How do we support the town? How do we do what we have to do? So coming in as a police chief in Hazleton, when you were listening to all of this, okay, you had to begin to assess, where do I start? What do I do? Well,
I used 21st century policing as the model. So everything is data driven. So you're looking at evidence-based policing, which is hotspot policing. Where are the crimes occurring? Whether it be noise, whether it be a robbery, whether it be a burglary. Where are they happening? What times of the day are they happening? What days of the week are they happening? And that's where you deploy your resources so that you can effectively get rid of that and cut that down. And we've shown that that's proven. We operate by data. We're driven by data. That's how policing is today in the 21st century. So in doing that, I went around and looked at the crime maps, and then we make what we call heat maps. And then we use ComStat data. And from looking at that data, you could go on crimereports.com and put in Hazleton, and you'll see all the noise complaints. You'll see where things occur. I based my crime fighting efforts and our crime fighting efforts, our team, based on that map. And that's how we go around and do it. Zero tolerance, saturated patrols, park and walk, doing a new thing, the Hawthorne Effect, the Hawthorne Effect. What that is, we just had the mayor, the district attorney, we have a new program called the Safe City Initiative. What we will do is we will train all of the Hazleton Police Department to identify what we call gangs. Now, I don't mean the Bloods, the Crips, because you don't always have them in a city. But what you do have is you may have a group on Alter Street. You may have a group on this street or that street. What they are is loosely based gangs because they hang in an area, they commit a criminal activity, whether it be drug sales or burglary or whatever it is they do, even noise. That group, we will be taught how to identify the group, who's in charge of that group, and then basically after we do that and identify all the groups and have everybody go through this ceasefire university, what we do is we call all of them into a room. And what we do is the mayor will speak to them first, I will speak to them next, then the district attorney, then the U.S. attorney, then the FBI, and then we will pretty much explain to them, we know who you are, we know who you roll with, we know where you hang, we know what you do, we know who your baby's mama is, we know everything about you. And then pretty much what we do is we tell them, starting tomorrow, the rules change. First gunshot that goes off, first robbery that occurs, first drug deal that goes down. If your group is identified, anyone associated with your group, we are going to focus on your group until we take your group out. And what we do is by doing that, it's called the Hawthorne Effect. This is being used by John Jay College in Chicago. It's being used in Paterson, New Jersey. It's being used in Birmingham. It's being used around the country, New York City. And the results are phenomenal because what happens is the criminal element is now being placed on notice. We're watching you. So what do? They skedaddle because the way we get them in the room, through parole, probation, the drug courts, that's how we force you in. It's not like we ask you to come in. No, you're coming in. And when you come in, you sit in a room, and you don't think you're going home. And then guess what? We bring you out. We tell you all this. We go through all of the things that I'm talking about. And then pretty much afterwards, we will even sit down and break bread with you. We will help you if you need to go to Job Corps. We'll let you lead a decent life. But if not, get out of Dodge, because tomorrow, the rules change.
Is it working?
Well, we're just starting it. We received a grant, an LSA grant for this. The consultant has been here. We did our first meeting, getting the law enforcement group together. That was at the South Side Station about 3 weeks ago. Now we'll go into the next phase of the teaching everybody the ceasefire university, how to identify the groups so we know where they are and who they are. And then we'll do our first call-in. And then once we do our first call-in, then we will see it's only 1% that is the criminal element that creates all of those problems in a city.
Okay, going back, I'm going to go for a break first. I'm talking to Chief Jerry Speziale, Hazleton Police Chief, folks. A lot of things are happening, and I know a lot of my friends who say to me, Sam, you know, the city isn't the same, it's not safe. I'm not going to say that it's 100% safe, but when we come back, Jerry will talk about numbers, what happened when he got here, and there's a lot of things happening. As you heard on our news and read in the Standard Speaker, when they come down on a group, they come down on a group. But what happens after that? You know, some of these people, they're arrested. They have smiles on their faces, like as if they're proud of what they did. They go in, and then do the courts take care of them? What's the punishment? Where's the fear here? Okay, we'll be back right after this. Thanks for staying with us, folks. I'm Sam Lesante. You're watching The Sam Lesante Show 24/7 on SSPTV.com, all of our shows. Remember, folks, if you haven't downloaded our app, download it. And when you download it, you'll understand what I'm talking about with all the local programs we produce. Just search SSPTV and download the app. If you do not have cable, which you should, you could download YouTube and search SSPTV and you watch all of our programs. My guest today is Hazleton Police Chief Jerry Speziale. Came here in 2016. Jerry, tons of things have happened since you've been here. And folks, let me tell you, Google his name, and you'll see what kind of person we have here in the greater Hazleton area. We're blessed to have Jerry Speziale here. And that's the truth. I've said that. You've earned that respect, Jerry.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
2016, what was the crime rate like?
Well, you know, if you look at the numbers, and I always say this, you know, if you don't feel safe in your home, in your neighborhood, I can talk to you about numbers all day long.
Exactly.
You just talked about perception.
Yep.
So I want the public to know that, you know, if you go down Alter Street right now, it's like a ghost town. Take a ride. Since we've been hitting it, and saturating, it's like a ghost town. We've focused on the groups, we've removed them. Don't be afraid, because it's in your mind, that perception that these problems are there, but we've removed that criminal element and we've been on them. But what you have to look at, I look at the hard numbers. We had 558 approximately major crimes that occurred in the city of Hazleton this last calendar year, 2018. We worked from back in 2015. We were close to 1,000. So think about that disparity. We're about 44% under right now. We've dropped burglaries by staggering numbers.
Why is that?
Omnipresence of police officers, parking and walk. We are now doing cameras where they're able to see. They have the tablets in the cars. Mm-hmm. So I am doing a grant with Joe Zeller. In community development, we're going to be putting up a number of iCloud cameras, cloud-based. So now when a police officer is responding, he has his tablet in the car, he's going to see an icon. So now if he's coming to here, he can push that icon. He can see see somebody walking out of your door before he even gets here. He knows that it was the red car that left. We're going to have a new server that's being put in. The mayor has this funding that came through the technology grant. What's going on with that? We're going to have a server. So you can put your exterior business camera, and all the residents in the city of Hazleton, if you want to put your exterior home cameras, we'll be able to see them from the police car. So now if we're responding to your house, you're away on vacation, we're coming down the block and we want to see the block over, we can start clicking on the camera icons and watching them through a cloud. This is technology. That's 21st century policing. So imagine if you get a call that somebody's doing something in front of your building and that cop can push that button before he gets here. He knows what car the guy entered. He knows which direction it traveled in. He knows what color clothes the person is wearing. And it's all at a fingertip right inside the vehicle. And that is costing the residents zero. It's not going to cost them anything.
All right, so going back to, I mentioned to you about the laws and these, they're getting arrested for selling drugs, and they're destroying people's lives on top of it, and they're proud about it. I mean, the least I see that when when you guys are taking them out and our crew is there and they're smirking, they're laughing, so what? I just destroyed someone's family with their drugs. Okay, there's many more out there. Okay. And that's why I admire anyone in the police work today, because you guys and women have it very, very tough. But with that being said, so are the legislators liberal in their, other a judge is only limited to put a person away because of what legislation says? Okay.
Yeah, I mean, you have sentencing guidelines,
yeah,
but you also have what we also have, like with the Safe City Initiative. Look, Stephanie Salavantes' office is tremendous. We had this 20-hour manhunt. I worked with Sam Sanguadulci, the first deputy. Let me tell you something. her office is tremendous. We wanted to get the individual. We knew he was a danger to society. He had taken a shot at a car. We hunted. They helped. We were on all Super Bowl. Myself, Sam, DAs, police officers, everybody stayed until we had him in handcuffs, including Sugarloaf Police Department. So that collaboration of working together is a force multiplier. And realize that those sentencing guidelines, her office is very, very good at their prosecutions. They don't play no games. But we also have the federal guidelines. And what we're doing is we're teaming up with the alcohol, tobacco, and firearms. So with these groups, you want to shoot at somebody? No problem. We're going to use what we call the trigger lock law. I've used this in so many cities. What we do is, if you're a convicted felon, you fire that weapon, 5 to 10 year mandatory sentence federally. So you're not going to be down the street here. You're going to be in Wyoming. You're going to be FCC Coleman. And we show them pictures of that in this calling I'm talking to you about. And we tell them we're serious. And then we show them everybody we've done this to. So they get to see their friends that are in Wyoming or somebody else that's in a federal prison over in California. They get the picture. This really does work. I've watched it.
Most of the crime, from what we hear, is drug related. Okay, so I know there's education. We hear about the opioids, etc. I mean, how many committees could you have? How many meetings could you? How many times you could talk about it? I mean, I know it's something.
Yes,
okay, so the education, getting to the younger people. All right. Because if there's not a demand for something, Jared, you know what I mean? So what are we doing here as far as education is concerned?
You know, look, I've been with, you know, to the schools with the troopers and with the judge. We've gone to the schools with our canines and we've talked to the younger generation about drugs and we ask them Q&A. We've done a lot of educational stuff. You know, but you also have to go after not only the supply, but you also have to go after the demand.
Absolutely.
Because if you don't go after the demand, if you go after the demand, believe it or not, I know it seems small, but the supply dries up.
Absolutely.
There's nobody staying here.
Yep.
You're not staying here with a hot dog stand if there's nobody here to buy hot dogs.
Right.
You know, and that's just the you know, the issue that you have to realize. You have to recognize that and understand that we go after them hard. We go after the suppliers with the Luzerne County Drug Task Force. We go after them with the DEA in our partnership. But we also go after the demand.
Folks, I'm talking to Police Chief Jerry Speziale. The question is this: is the city of Hazleton safe? We'll be back right after this. Thanks for staying with us, folks. You're watching the Sam Lesante Show. My guest today, Hazleton Police Chief Jerry Speziale. A lot of things have happened since 2016. I highly encourage you to, you know, the show was seen many times, but search our app and you'll learn a lot more of what's happening in greater Hazleton area because it affects all the different areas. Jerry, we got about 2 minutes left, okay? Is the city of Hazleton safe and where are we going from here?
Sam, yes, it is absolutely safe. As I said, the numbers show it. Please come out. Please understand that we are out there in force. The mayor is putting 4 more police officers on next council meeting. So we are going to be at the all-time high with our police officers. We have federally funded grants. But I can tell you where we're going. Mayor Cassatt is my partner, and he's been truly a great leader. He's done some difficult decisions he's had to make, but he's also supported the endeavors that we've come up with to make a safer city. He's my partner. I look forward to the future with him. And well, he's the mayor. And as long as he remains the mayor, I will be committed to move forward and make that number 500 to 0.
Well, I want to thank you for coming on the show. You'll be on a couple more times. Folks, it's interesting because I mentioned to some local politicians in Cunningham, Sugarloaf, Freeland, and when I say I had Jerry Speziale come on my show, you know what they say to me? He's a good man, Sandy. He's doing a great job. Just this morning, I was talking to Gary Gregory from Cunningham. Great guy. He's doing a great job in Cunningham.
Yes.
and he said, you know, your chief is doing a great. Tell him I said hello. I mean, so that's the kind of reputation that Jerry has developed in this area, and like I said, we're blessed to have you.
Thank you, Sam.
And your people, all your police department,
tremendous police
we say.
department.
I say about, you know, Cunningham, Sugarloaf, Freeland, you know, I don't want to miss McAdoo. All the police people are doing a great job.
And police.
Pennsylvania State Police. I mean, they're doing
All of them. Sam.
Yeah.
This is a team effort, and it's not about me. It's about we and us.
And you've done a great job at that.
Thank you.
Folks, don't forget, 24/7 SSPTV.com. We'll see you next time.